there's the 11 nations that are going to start the race. And as Tim mentioned, it's slightly chaotic with who's running each leg, so you are going to have to bear with us, give us a bit of leeway as we try and figure out, identify each athlete that's running each leg, but we will do our best.
There's the Andorran squad, as you can see. Moya, Chink Bonds, Gomez Lozano and Kroos. Andorra have not yet featured amongst the medals in the 6 previous editions of this event.
Here's the Belgian squad. Zayed Adder there on the left-hand side did win leg 1 in Brussels. They were nearly in medal contention and just struggled slightly in the closing stages, but Paravik, Dalmans and Van der Noot. Is that going to be their order? Perhaps 1, 2, 3, 4. So the screen suggesting that could be the order, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, the Belgians took a bronze medal in Dublin back in 2021. I wonder if they can get amongst the medals today. The Spanish, well, they're always strong. They were champions back in 2018 in Tilburg. Gomez, Perez, Guerrero and Adrian Ben, better known as an 800-meter run. Adrian Ben, indeed, he's a very special athlete, is Ben. He 6th at the 800 in Doha back in 2019, 5th in Tokyo at the Olympic Games 3 years ago, 4th in Budapest last year.
The defending champions from France, I don't think they're returning anybody from that squad. They have got Agathe Guillemot there just waving, the new French national record holder over 1500, 3:56 last summer, but good quality behind with Senard, Bedard and Delabin.
Senard actually the only one from last year's squad. There's the British team, took bronze last year. Josh Lay to the left of picture there, the tall figure on the opening leg, we understand. Great Britain have won this title 3 times from the 6 editions in 2017, 2019 and 2021. Last year took team bronze. His teammates will be Deadman, Thorner and Billiard.
The Italians won at home in Turin in 2022. That was brilliant, and they brought a strong squad here. The 2 national record holders, Visser and Arise, in the middle, and they look like they could be going man, woman, woman, man. Nope, they're just not stood in the right order. They are still choosing to have male lead off and anchor runners.
Well, it's a real cat and mouse game, this one. There's some tactics will be introduced. Orders could be chased. The Dutch, well, they took the silver medals last year in Brussels. Van Riel, Nielsen, Schmidt and Damming. Nielsen, well, he could be their secret weapon, so to speak. Nielsen, an incredible run at the Paris Olympic Games. He won his heat, a personal best, and then in the final finished in 9th place. Very experienced.
There are the Polish squad. That's a decent 1500-meter personal best in this squad. Will that transfer to this course? Goborewski, Gallant, Breza and Rack.
11 teams in total, by the way, in this competition. And the Portuguese, well, they've never taken a medal in the 6 previous editions. Pinto, Silva, for Portugal, Pinto, Silva, Castro and Lima.
Good showings from the host nation so far. They're really putting themselves in there and getting involved in both those junior races so far. So we'll see how they can fare in the relay.
The Ukrainians, well, they will give a account of themselves. Many people will be willing them to go strongly here. Lonsky, Chonovol, Kornunska and Sabunyak is their quartet. So the first leg looks like every team is putting one of their male pairings out on this first leg. So away they go. It is just 11 athletes. It's like a middle distance race, really, because this first lap is short. It's 1,710 meters. I say it's short. It's the longest of the 4 legs, but still only 1,700. So about 100 yards further than a mile, if you like your pounds, shillings and pence. 22 men, 22 women involved in this discipline, of course. Last year, the French took gold ahead of the Netherlands and Great Britain. And Josh Lay was the lead-off man for Great Britain last year. He's the tallest of this pack, although Parolini of Italy is a tall character as well. Sebastiano Parolini, he's a 3:41 1,500-meter runner, 7:48 for 3,000. And just looking, won the Italian short course cross-country earlier on this year.
It's a different element here, attacking this course at this pace. This is by far the fastest we're going to see anyone try and pop over all these different obstacles, and I think that's slightly different. We saw Josh Lay really lean into that first corner, almost cutting off Stannard, but he had to kind of keep his momentum and hold his position. And Poloni is working hard there, and to see Van Riel squeezing through the middle, it is like a track race. These men will run very, very hard for a kilometre, and it's tricky to run at this speed, not on an even surface, and kind of have that chopping and changing and jumping over logs and whatnot. But Stannard looking smooth. I saw him practicing the hurdles yesterday. He was pretty good at them.
Antoine Stannard then leading. He's a 3:36 1500 metre runner. He's very, very quick. He's strong too. 7:40 for 3000. He's run in the junior races before, but last year he was part of that winning squad for the French in this event. The previous year, or rather in 2022, he was 7th in the under-23 race. Understandably, perhaps the Andorran athlete just struggling a little bit there towards the back of the field, but Sennar is making sure this is hard and honest, taking it from the front there. He doesn't want this to be tactical. And of course, Narila, you want to hand over with as big a gap as possible behind you, between yourself and your opponents. It's not about just dipping to win your leg. You've got to give your team optimal performance so that you give your following runners a chance. And Sennar doing a great job here ahead of Parolini, the Italian.
I think you're right there, Tim. It is important to totally empty the tank, but I think the margins for getting it right in a fast 1500 metre cross country, they're quite fine. If you overcook it and you start to rig and you start to slow down, you could really bleed time on a kind of tusky underfoot turf kind of stuff with barriers in the way. If you get it wrong, you could give away 5 or 6 seconds on this home straight.
Well, Josh Lay giving a good account of himself at the moment. Gomez of Spain moving well too. Just looking at Jesus Gomez. He's a 3:33 1500 metre runner. He's just in the slipstream of this leading trio, although at the moment Bedard is kicking on really strongly. He's gone early. There's only 3 minutes on the clock, and he's pushing really strongly here, and he's getting a gap, and it seems like Parolini and Josh Lay unable to respond at the moment. That gap could be significant if it grows.
And the French team taking that gold medal last year in Brussels. I wonder how competitive it was to make this French team. Alexis Millet, one of the athletes, he's gone up to the senior team to try and help them get a senior medal in the long course. But Senard, he is just starting to labour through that softer ground here. And here comes Jesus Gomez. He fell in his lead leg run in Turin in Italy a couple of years ago. So Gomez at the moment going better for the Spanish team. And Van Riel has found something in the closing stages. Robin Van Riel looked like he was gone around about 300 or 400 metres ago.
Well, Sennar giving a good account of himself. He's a 3:38 1500 metre runner, but he was 9th in the European Championships 10,000 in Rome at the beginning of June. Into the home straight now, and Bedard kicking on strongly. That pack of 4 right behind him, led by Josh Lay at the moment. They're working very hard, but Bedard is opening another couple of metres. Every stride he's grabbing a few centimetres, and that's important because it will hand over here 2 or 3 seconds to the good. Brilliant running from him as he hands over here to his female teammate, and away they go. Great Britain just coming through in 3rd place there behind the Netherlands.
That was a great last few hundred metres from Robert Van Riel. I thought he'd got it wrong. I thought he was slowing down, and he really closed down on the lead pat there as the rest of the athletes do their handover. So Andorra, the only team, I think, running a male on this leg. I just cast my eye across the field to naked eye. I think it is just the Andorrans that have a male on this leg, so the Andorran could actually fly through the field. The French took the lead. They have Girard of France on their second leg, and there goes the British team trials winner, Deadman. He's pulling up alongside the French athlete. a lot of tired men over in the changeover zone on the home straight. There goes Maddie Deadman with Girard and Zanoni of Italy right behind. The Italian women are having a real moment over 1500 metres. So many of them under and close to 4 minutes, as are the Spanish women. I expect the Spanish team to do well on this leg as well. Jesus Gomez, I think he faltered ever so slightly in the last 300 or 400 metres, so the Spanish team just slightly adrift of the medal zone at the minute, but there are the Dutch and the Spanish working to try and get back on terms with this lot. But look at Marta Zanoni. She's pushing at the front as well, and they've got the 2 national record holders yet to come in Cinta Visser and Pietro Arisi.
Yeah, Zanoni really useful of 1500. They negotiate the first of those sand pits on this twisting circuit. Great Britain in second place, looking strong at the moment as these gaps have grown pretty quickly. When you think we're on the second of 4 laps, and you don't get gaps anything like this when it's a pack race. But Zanoni, you're right, she really has thrown the gauntlet down here. She's gone very early. Her older sister Federica is also a junior international. I suspect Batocletti's running this last couple of years has inspired a generation of young Italian women. The good news for Great Britain is that Zanoni is dragging the British runner clear here and moving well clear of the 3 teams that are chasing hard.
I think it could be Esther Guerrera of Spain up until 3rd place as well. Spain very, very good at getting in the medals in this race, and they have brought a strong squad. They were the winners a few years ago. But Zanoni is looking absolutely full of running here. She's a under-23 medalist on the track over 1,500 metres, and to stretch up to 6K and run in the under-23 age group over cross-country might not be attractive to a 1,500 metre runner, but the opportunity to run a distance more familiar to you, a bit shorter, is what attracts these 1,500 metre specialists to the European cross-country champs. There is Marta Perez. Apologies, Guerrera must be the next female running, but Marta Perez, the Spanish record holder over 1,500 metres, grimacing there in 3rd place, trying to get herself away from Girard. The French squad is strong. Perez will know that Spain have got to keep pushing here.
Well, Maddie Dedman has done really well to hang on to the coattails of the Italian Zanoni. Dedman, coached by Rod Finch, who was himself a great runner. I think came from down in Southampton. Rod Finch, he was a world-class 1,500 metre runner about 20 years ago. And she's a youthful 800 metre runner, Maddie Dedman, 2:04 performer. And those gaps, Hannah, are growing and growing.
Marta Zanoni, totally fearless here, happy to lead the charge. And as we've mentioned, these relays get every bit of time she can. Marta Perez is coming though. I feel that gap between Perez and Dedman of Great Britain and Northern Ireland is just diminishing ever so slightly. But Marta Perez, she's built on her endurance. She's much better over 3K and 5K than she used to be. But that sand didn't look smooth running for the Spaniard. Dedman does look determined. Gap to Zanoni. It's not getting any bigger, but Marta Zanoni has controlled this second leg as we see Gomez Lanzano of Andorra, the only male leg athlete on this leg, just powering through the field. I think he's going to bring the Andorrans home in 3rd place. Oh, and Marta Perez, big fall there over the hurdles. That is heartbreak for the Spanish team, pushing her down into 4th, 5th place.
And look at the Andorran man coming through, Gomez Lozano. Well, it's worked for Andorra so far, although, of course, they'll have a woman against the other men in one of the next 2 legs as we come to the halfway point.
It's going to be, I think, Zanoni just holding on to 1st place. Visser waiting patiently. Zanoni has run a wonderful, brave leg for Italy. She will hand over to the national record holder, Cinta Visser, based in Boulder, trained by Dathan Ritzenheim, so they do take over in second. Gomez Lanzano does hand over to the Andorran teammate in 1st place. There go Italy behind Elise Thorner with a good changeover. She's in 2nd place. Agathe Guillemot, the 3:56 French national record holder over 1,500 metres, will chase hard as well. And at the moment, the Dutch team just behind in 4th, and the Spanish team with that fall for Marta Perez, Esther Guerrera, has taken over in 5th place.
Well, it's proving to be fabulously competitive, this one, and it is fascinating when some teams choose to change their order and make it different from all the rest. There's that muddy section. We'll have got a lot worse over the last night when we had, must have been a couple of inches of rain over the night. It was torrential rains for several hours in the middle of the night. But Visser here for the Italians, Hannah, going superbly well, an Olympic semi-finalist and looking strong, driving up that hill well. Giving everything through the first half of this one. It is about gauging her effort, though, isn't it?
Yes, and I think Cinta Visser, she's very, very strong. We know she's fantastic over 1,500 metres, 8:40 over 3K as well. She does have that endurance, but I don't know her much as a cross-country runner. I don't remember seeing her at these championships before. I imagine she went to university in America. She would have run cross-country there. Elise Thorner went to the University of Florida, and she certainly did run cross-country out there. So Elise Thorner, a steeplechaser as well. So that's a kind of athlete that could eat up a gap on a 1,500 metre runner. But Guillemot and Thorner, big gaps at the moment between them and Visser, but they're around about 1/3 of the way through their single lap.
Well, it looks like most teams are putting their final leg giving the final leg to one of their male runners. So most teams have gone man, woman, woman, man, as Visser tries to build on that lead, and she is giving everything. You can see fast pitter-patter style. She hasn't got a long raking stride, but really good chasing going on too by Thorner in second place.
Oof. She managed that Visser at a stretch. I think that's what we saw when we were watching people practice yesterday. There's not actually enough space to take steps between those logs. You have kind of got to commit to it, and at least Thorner, as the steeplechaser, has definitely got the advantage over the likes of Visser when we look at the man-made obstacles.
Coached by Helen Clitheroe, former European indoor champion over 3,000 metres. Clitheroe, great cross-country runner herself. I suspect she's imparted some good knowledge to Elise Thorner, but Visser looking very strong and staying clear at the moment. Guillemot back in third place for France. The gaps really have grown very significantly. It's Italy, Great Britain, France as they come towards the end of this second leg. Visser for Italy, Thorner of Great Britain, Guillemot of France. Just looking at Guillemot, she is a 3:56 1500 metre runner. She should be able to close. She's a world-class 1500 metre runner, and was 9th in the Olympic final in Paris back in the summer in front of the home crowd. That must have been super inspiring. Bredza of Poland goes through. Toptash of Turkey goes through as well. Each of those athletes trying to give everything to give their final leg athlete a good chance. But Italy from Great Britain, and Thorner has run superbly to close up on Visser. She really has, because Visser took over with a good lead. It's about gauging her effort. And Elise Thorner, Britain's number 3 steeplechaser last year after Lizzie Bird and Amy Pratt, onto the shoulder of Visser now. The Italian has run very, very bravely. It's always hard in a relay to take over with a small lead. Much easier to be on somebody's shoulder in a relay. And there's no buttons or tape or anything being handed over here.
Guillemot is finishing like a train. The French woman looked relieved to see the home straight there. She's not a natural cross-country runner, but she's a brilliant 1500 metre runner. With this head-on angle, it's hard to tell, but Visser, Thorner, Guillemot, I think they were going to hand over pretty much all together. And the French team were victors last year, but they were chasing. If you remember, the Dutch team and the French team were chasing down the Brits that at this point had nearly a minute lead. Visser sprinting flat out here. I think the Italian team are going to have the advantage slightly. She hands to the national record holder, Pietro Arisi. The French team with a good handover. And Tyler Billiard of Great Britain and Northern Ireland in third has got to try and live with these first two teams. They are miles ahead of the other teams. The Dutch team, Stefan Nielsen, takes over for them in fourth place, and the Adrian Ben of Spain takes over in fifth.
Well, it could hardly be tighter, could it? Look at those times, just 2 seconds back to Great Britain in third place, and then a slightly bigger gap back to the Netherlands in fourth as Bedard of France pushes on this final leg. This is going to be very, very tight indeed. You've got to get it right. Every foot is going to matter on these bends and these twists and turns. Simon Bedard is a 3:38 1500 metre runner and looking confident and strong at the moment in front.
Pietro Arisi was part of the squad in Turin that took the gold medal, with him and Gaia Sabatini anchoring them. It was a really technical course there, so Arisi, I'm confident in his cross-country ability. And Tyler Billiard, the University of Birmingham, knows his way around the cross-country course as well. He's just a 3:39 guy, but he's one of those younger athletes that's developing. So you feel like that 3:39, that's not his maximum potential. And good bravery here from him on his international debut for Great Britain to go ahead of Bedard and Arisi, but I feel like the experience of the Italian and the Frenchman are going to come into play here.
Well, Billiard is strong. We know that. That 3:54 miling speed will come in very handy. 1:47 for 800 metres. Was second in the trials short course race in Liverpool 2 weeks ago. Jethro McGraw, I know, will be screaming him on here to make the right tactical moves, if tactics are to be employed in this. And I suppose with this being the final leg, Hannah, it doesn't matter whether you're 1 millimetre in front of your opponent at the finish line, as long as you are in front of him. The first 3 legs have to run with a different attitude. They need to get the distance as much as possible to hand over to their teammates. But this is just a flat-out race.
those three look superb over those hurdles. To say we've had steeplechasers in the other races not look as comfortable, but Bedard skipped over those. Elise and Billiard struggled ever so slightly, but they made it over fine. The next barrier for them are these more significant hurdles with the grass on top. That's going to be the next thing, and I think we could see, if anyone comes over these hurdles well, we could see them kick on through the next few bends and just try and break away from the other teams.
It's very tight indeed, isn't it? I don't know if there's going to be any room for the Dutch to come through. Nielsen it is, ironically, the Olympic finalist, back in fourth place for the Netherlands on their final leg, but this trio is a classy trio as well, and I'm not sure that making up that gap and getting ahead of them is realistic. The lead changing every 100 metres or so in the second half of this final leg.
I feel with Pietro Arise, he's so quick, he's so strong. Bronze medalist in Roma, over 1,500 metres. The confidence that brings when you know you've medalled at a senior championships. Arise, he looks good, he looks smooth. Bedard, I can't tell, he's looking behind a bit. Is that just to ensure he gets his tactics perfect, that he's not caught unawares by Nielsen, or is that a sign of weakness? These three are so tightly matched. They've got around about 400 metres to go. They'll hop over some logs. Marta Perez, our only faller that we've seen so far through all the previous three races. These three men over absolutely fine, and that is it. It's a full-on sprint down the home straight here. It's Italy, it's France, it's Great Britain. Pietro Arise looking right, looking left. You got to feel the French national record, the Italian national record holder over 1,500 has got another gear if he needs it. Billiard's arms are pumping. Bedard, his cadence is high. These three abreast, sprinting for the medals here, sprinting for the title in the mixed relay championships at the European Cross Country Championships, and they are so close. It's Arise at the moment. Bedard trying to hold them off. Billiard right there. It's going to be gold for Italy. Pietro Arise takes the gold medal for Italy. France, a great title defence in silver, and Britain matching their bronze from Brussels last year.
Well, Italy took this title 2 years ago in Turin in front of the home crowd, and they regain the gold medals in this men's relay, a mixed relay I should say. Netherlands coming through in fourth place. Great running from them. Nielsen on that final leg. The Spanish there with Ben, the 800 metre specialist, coming through. Looks like he's had a tough time there. Rack of Poland right behind him, and the Belgians further back. But well, the Netherlands, no, Nielsen couldn't get close. 10 seconds back behind the British bronze. Great Britain repeating the bronze from last year. But what a fabulous finish. That's what you want to see. Gussing it out over those last 500-600 metres. A very, very long finishing straight down. And I wonder whether or not it's a bit like a road mile where it's almost deceptive. You need to gauge your sprint, because you wouldn't start a sprint in a track race a lap and a half out, and yet that's the temptation here, because you can see the finish from the top of the hill. And I think it's almost with that log at the top of the home straight, it kind of it lures you into thinking, oh, I've got to do something, I've got to get off that as fast as possible, and that's what we saw. Niels Laros did that perfectly. He kicked off those logs, and George Cootie never got back on terms. You're right, you've got to time that kick right, but it helps for me that it's downhill. So, you haven't got, if it was uphill, then I think we could see absolute carnage in the last 50 metres or so. But so far, people have timed it right. But you are right, Tim, it could throw up some curveballs as we move through with 4 races left to go here. Italy then take gold with France and Great Britain in silver and bronze respectively. The gaps behind, well, they were small in places. Spain in 5th, only 5 seconds ahead of Poland, who would 1 second ahead of Belgium in 6th and 7th respectively. That's nice though, Great Britain getting on them amongst the medals as well. The French too, who are serial medalists in this one. In fact, that's the 6th consecutive medal for the French squad. They didn't get a medal in the first edition of this mixed relay in 2017, but every year since they have taken a medal of some colour. Arese showing real class. They looked in control down that home straight, didn't he?
And I think there'll be some people, we never know who tunes in, but people that aren't familiar with European cross, and they'll kind of think, well, we've had the track season, it's not indoors yet. What's the deal? And European cross country, it means so much to so many nations, and you just got to look at the emotion there for Arise across the line, and the Italian team, and look back to Niels Laros and the outpouring of emotion for him winning the title. We care about this championships in Europe. It always throws up wonderful races, and it is just at the kind of final bragging rights in a year. You can walk away just at the end of this 2024 year with a continental title, and that's just what these Italians would have done.
And that's the closest ever finish we've seen to a European cross-country relay, all three teams finishing in the same second, 18.02.
Yeah, last year was really tight, but you're right, Mark. Last year, France winning by 2 seconds from the Netherlands, who were 2 seconds ahead of Great Britain. But wow, that is tight. The same time for 1, 2, and 3 over 18 minutes. That's rare. There is confirmation then of Italy's win in the mixed relay. The Italians, who were gold medalists 2 years ago in front of the home crowd in Turin, back on top ahead of France and Great Britain. France and Great Britain serial medalists in this discipline. And the Netherlands just missing out ahead there of Spain and Poland in 5th and 6th.